In this video, I'm gonna show you how you can build a lead generation system using Crunchbase, Apify, Mate.com, and a few other tips and tricks in there, okay? So do me a favor, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and let's get started. I'm inside of Mate.com and you can see the entire scenario here, okay? So I'm gonna talk you through it, how it works, and then obviously we'll build it together. So this is the Crunchbase lead generation system, and it uses Apify, Mails.so, Hunter.io, and Instantly, okay? And I'll show you exactly what they do. So the first module here is the get dataset items. Now, if you know me well, you know that I do all my scraping through Apify. I think it's a phenomenal platform and you can get started for free. They give you $5 in credit every single month, okay? You don't need a pay plan. And I'm gonna do this with the free plan to show you. So we're gonna get dataset items and there's a filter here, okay? The filter says, is it too big, right? So what that means is that you're gonna see jobs, you're gonna see leads that are, or companies that are hiring, which is how the system works. But a lot of these companies are huge, right? You're gonna see Binance on there, Coinbase, right? Which have hundreds of thousands of employees between them, right? I don't want to pitch work for these companies, right? Or to these companies because they're just too big. And I'm a solo guy, right? So they don't want to respond to me. So what I've done is I put a filter here that says number of contacts, which is more or less number of employees, right? Is less than 150. That seems to be a sweet spot, okay? Then there's two flows here. The first scenario is, can we verify the email, right? So this flow here has an email address, but usually it's a risky email address, right? What that means is it's going to be something like admissions at, info at, contact us at. And the reason it's risky is because these are managed mailboxes, right? Which means that there's a team of like 4 or 5 people, usually an admin or HR or one of these kind of departments that will basically look at the mailbox. They will see emails coming in and whoever's free will just respond to it, okay? Now, if you can imagine that in the context of a business, it's not very reliable, right? I'd much rather send it to a specific decision maker like John Smith at, right? Somebody who's in the power, who's in the position of power that can make a decision, like a yes or no decision, okay? Then there's some deliverables. Can we deliver it, right? So the result for this has to be risky, unknown, or undeliverable, okay? And then what it does is it will find the email, okay? So this is hunter.io, and we're gonna do a search with the domain because we have the website and we also have the founder's name, okay? So at that point, it's gonna check the email with a filter to say, does the email exist? If it does, it will move on to the next step. And I've used the variable just to keep it simple. So basically, this is the personalized email. That's what I've called the variable, okay? And it just says, hey, first name, saw that you're hiring on the job posting link, right? And I'll show you why I've capitalized it, okay? Once I run it. So what if instead of hiring an in-house team, we automate your growth using AI by sending super targeted personalized emails that's more effective with higher ROI, okay? So what I'm doing is I'm contacting these high intent businesses that I know are hiring, right? Because I'm doing that filter inside of Crunchbase and they want to hire for a position of like business development, lead generation, growth strategy, those kind of jobs, right? Because that's the kind of position that I can help them with a similar automation like this. So you'd save hours of work while scaling outreach without sacrificing that one-to-one connection. We've helped companies like yours generate an extra $107,567 in top line revenue by doing this. And I'm confident we could do the same or better for, and that's identified value is just the business name, okay? And again, I'm gonna talk you all through this, so just stick around until the end so we can build this together, okay? So let me know if you like more details, no pressure, just a thought, Sanj, okay? That's it. And then it basically sends everything that we've basically captured from the automation. So we've got the verified email, right? They have to find the email. We've got the first name, we've got the last name, we've got the company name, all verified by Hunter. And now we've got the personalization through the tools variable, okay? And that's it. And then that gets sent into Instantly and obviously we'll run together. Okay, so the second flow is there's no email address, right? Now, sometimes what you'll see in the Apify scraper is it will say something like unknown, unfound or something like that. It'll be like a null value, which means that there's no email address. Okay, so for this instance, I don't want to leave the opportunity on the table, right? I want to squeeze as much juice out of this prospect as I can. So even if they don't have an email, I'm still going to try and find them because I've got the domain name, right? So what I'm going to do here is I've got a domain, which is the website, and I've got the founder's full name, right? Because I'm scraping that through Crunchbase. And so let's see what we can do, right? And then it's the same create email variable, which is the personalized email. And this time it's going to use the Hunter.io module from the second part of the flow, okay? And again, it's more or less the same, right? It's going to use a job posting link because they do post jobs on job boards. Right, it could be on Monster Jobs, and I just want to put it in there because it's just an additional layer of personalization, okay? So if you know anything about cold emails, you'll know that the personalization is the most important part of the email, right? If you don't personalize it, they're not going to respond to you, okay? So it's more or less the same, template, and it's got the identifier here, which is the company name, And then it does the same thing, right? It's going to send it to Instantly. And Instantly is my preferred solution for sending outbound automated cold emails, okay? So I've created a campaign ID called ytmake.com test, which is for this video. And I've got all the fields from the hunter.io module that it's connected to. Okay, so it's more or less the same as this, but it's just the second part of the flow. Okay, and then it's got the domain here as well. Although we could probably take that out whenever you need that. Okay, so I'm gonna run this and show you what the output looks like. So let me just go in here. Let me just select 10 because we might not have enough results depending on what it's scraped. Okay, and then we'll build this together. So you can see here, this has worked. There's 3 here, 3 emails. They've come through, and of the 3, we've got 1 that's been added. Okay, so we've got 10, 3, and we've got basically 1 out of 3. Okay. So you can see that this is a volume business. You just need thousands. You just need to scrape as many emails as you can and then let the automation handle the rest, okay? So what does the output look like? Well, let's click on this bubble here and you can see that the output is, what's the personalization? Okay, so here, hey Harman, saw that you're hiring on Jobio. So remember the capitalized function I used? It's gonna basically, capitalize this job platform. So I don't know what Jobio is, but it looks like some kind of job platform. And so I've capitalized it, okay? And then what if instead of, it's got all that in there, and then it's even got the company name, right? Because I put that as a variable, right? And then if I go into leads, you'll see it's there. Let's refresh this. It might be in here twice. That's fine. Okay, it's in here once. And you can see I've got the details and I've got the company name. And if I click on this, you can even see the personalization, right? All very straightforward, right? And you could do this on complete automation. So how do you build a system like this? Well, let's get started in Crunchbase. So Crunchbase is actually a paid tool, but they do give you a 7-day free trial, okay? So go over to Google, type in Crunchbase free trial, sign up with your email address, and then it will take you to this page here, okay? So first thing you want to do is go over to companies, and then you will try the beta search, okay? The beta search builder. And then you can see I put in a few different searches here. The one that gave me the best results was hiring sales, okay? So type in hiring sales, press enter, and it's just going to build your search. Okay, it's just going to use an AI search builder, an AI agent, because that's what everyone's doing, right? In terms of trying to implement some form of AI. And then you're going to have a couple of conditions here. So the first is actively hiring is not blank, which means it's ticked. Contact job departments equals sales. Okay, so now show the results. And so we have all the results here. Okay, so now we've got 1,186 results. Okay, you're going to do one more thing. Okay, so head over to contacts and you want to select marketing as well. Okay, so it should be unchecked, but select marketing. You want sales and let's put here marketing. Okay, it's just going to increase the number of leads. And then you want to make sure that there's one more. Let me see if I can see it. Go into companies. I think it's in the companies tab. There's more than enough here for you to test it on the free plan. Okay, so you don't need to pay for this, okay? And then the actor is, and then just go into the store, search for Ultimate Crunchbase Search Scraper by Curious Coder. That's it, okay? And then what you need to do is, there's a couple of things you need to do. The first is you're going to need the cookies, you're going to need a session cookie, and I'll show you how you get that. So this is my session cookie. The second thing is you want to put in the number of records that are required. Now, what I suggest is if you have 1,186, just put in 1,186 here, right? For the sake of this demonstration, I've just put in 50 because it will just scrape it quickly, right? If you're going to do something like 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, whatever, 10,000, just bear in mind that it's going to take longer, right? It's going to take anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes, okay? Depending on the number of records that you just scrape, okay? Then you need to scrape the search URL. I'll show you how to do that. And then for the duration and the maximum, the wait duration, the minimum maximum, just leave that as blank. The custom proxy, just select residential. And you could use anything. I've just used United States just to keep it simple. Run options, just leave it as the default, okay? So how do you get a session cookie? Let me show you. So what you want to do is you want to go to Google and type in edit this cookie, okay? So it's going to take you to the website, but you don't want to use the website. You want to use the Chrome Web Store, okay? So go to the Chrome Web Store and then you want to add it to Chrome. So what this is just a Chrome extension and it's going to take your session cookie, okay? So I've already added this, so I'm not going to do that. So what you need to do is head back over to Crunchbase, basically click on this button here to export, okay? It's going to copy the cookies to a clipboard, okay? And then what you do is you head over to Apify, you go into where it says cookies, just select all, delete it, and then just paste whatever you've copied from the clipboard, okay? So I don't want to do that because I've already got it in here, but that's literally it. That's it, okay? Now, I'm not going to run this because, like I said, it does take 15, 20 minutes, but I have run a few. Now, sometimes it will error out, so I'll show you what that looks like, right? So if I go to log, right, you can see this one here that I ran last night. It did have a few errors, and sometimes that happens, right? Don't panic because just leave it running. You can see here, eventually it scraped 50 records, and you can see that it will do that from time to time. Okay, so, I've scraped 50 here, 50, 50. There's a couple of here that have 100. If I show you the log, right, Sometimes it goes through and there's no errors. Sometimes you'll see it, just wait for it to finish. It will scrape all the records eventually. Okay, so that's the output, and yeah, this is what it looks like. Okay, it has all the information. You've got here Boston Dynamics, because some big companies in here, right? So these are all the fields that it gives you. Now this is a job field, right? The job here, and you see that it's lowercase, which is why I'm using the capitalized case, condition the syntax to basically make it capitalized, right? And it gives you other bits and pieces as well. Okay, so we're gonna head back into make.com and then build this out together. Okay, so let's head over to a new scenario. I'm just gonna click on API, and then we're just gonna use the get dataset items for this, okay? Because I'm gonna hard code the dataset ID. If you're doing this, you'll just get the watch actor runs and then do a dynamic field for dataset ID. But I'm gonna just wait for this to run, okay? So the way to get your dataset ID is head over to API, go to runs, find one of the scrapes that you've done, go to storage, and then you just copy the dataset ID here. This is if you want to hard code it, okay? So when I'm testing something, I generally hard code it. It just means that I don't have to keep running the same modules over and over again. It also means that you use less operations, right? If cost is a factor, you're going to use less operations because you don't need to use the watch actor runs module, okay? Then for the data transformation, just leave it as clean. Format, I always use JSON. And then the limit, to do whatever you want, right? Like if you're scraping 100, have a limit of 100. Typically, I don't do that. I'll start, if I scrape 100, I'll start with 5, 6, 10, just so I can test it, right? So I'm just going to use something like 10, but then you do whatever you need to do, okay? Then the next module is going to be a router. So go to flow control, router, and that's because we've got two scenarios. So if we go back to the original automation, we've got the first scenario here, which is there an email address, right? And the second scenario is there's no email address, okay? In both scenarios, we can still send them an email, okay? So we're going to build out the first part, which is mails.so verify email. So click here and then just type in mails.so, right? And we're going to verify a single email, okay? And then you just connect up to the account. So I've got one here. You can actually start this for free as well. I think they give you something like 100 credits to test. So you can set this up for free. But by the way, you know, mails.so is the cheapest by far for mails verification I found. Like, they're literally charging pennies for like a few hundred emails. I haven't found anything less than this, okay? And then here, you want to basically just run this module, okay? So we need an output, right? And so we've got all that here, we've got all the job information. And then what we need is the email address, okay? So I can never find it, so I'm just gonna put in email, and then it's this module here, contact team one. Now you see this one here, info@bostondynamics.com. Nobody's gonna check that. Nobody is gonna respond to you on that. That's why we have the second step, okay? So save that. The second step is gonna be hunter.io. Again, another affordable solution for email verification. So we're gonna click on Hunter. And then we're gonna go to, you could do a verify in here as well, but I found that Mails is just cheaper for this. If you're gonna scale this up long term, it's just much cheaper to do it through Mails, and then use Hunter just to find the emails, okay? So we're gonna click on that and then count, which is fine. We're gonna search by the domain, right? So the domain we have here is gonna be, let me just go back to the original one. Okay, we're gonna use the website value that we get from the API scrape, okay? So let's go into here, let's use the website value. So you can see it's got a bostondynamics.com web address. Let's just put that in there. And then the first name, which modules are we using now? Okay, we're not going to use the first name, last name. We're going to use the full name, the founder's identifier, okay? So go down, skip these two. And then there is a founder's identifier here. So you can see this here, right? So this is going to be the value here, right? We're going to use that, okay? And then just save that. Okay, so that part's done. I'm not going to save the flow because I've already got it in the original, but make sure you label these modules as well, right? So you can see how I've done it here. I've got a label for each module, right? And that just helps me to identify what's going on, especially when you have duplicate modules in the same flow, right? In the same automation, because it's going to tell you what it does. Sometimes the modules might have a different function, even if it's the same module, right? But you're using it for a different function. Okay, so just bear that in mind. And then the next module is going to be the create an email. So I'm just going to copy this, right? And then we're going to use tools. Now I could do this inside of Instantly, or I could get like an AI module. I'm just going to keep it as simple as possible, because if you do connect a language model like ChatGPT, then it's going to cost you money, right? So I'm trying to do a free solution that you can build today and get started, right? Because even make.com 1,000 operations is completely free, okay? So this we're gonna do, which module was it? A set variable, okay? And just call it whatever you want. I'm just gonna call it personalized email. And then the variable value is just gonna be what I copy here, okay? So the first name we're gonna get from Hunter, which is this here. And then this link source, we wanna delete that out and then just find it, right? So it's in the API module. So it's this one here, right? and we want to put that in between the capitalized. Okay, so you can see here that job here is lowercase, which is why I'm using the capitalized open bracket, put it outside job posting link sources, close bracket. Okay, so that just means that it's gonna basically take job and capitalize it. That's it. Nothing more to it than that. Okay, it's just a capitalized function. And then we've got the rest of the text. And then I want to put a bit more personalization here. So I'm going to use the identifier value, right, from the API. So that one should be this one here. Okay, so where did I go? Didn't work. Let's put that here, identifier value. And just make sure it's spaced out. I don't know why it's doing that. So it reads properly, right? It reads like a proper email. Now you could do all the formatting in here because then it saves you a step of doing the formatting inside of Instantly, okay? So write an email of this effect, right? Something like this. And we're gonna save that, right? And then the last module and company name is gonna be company. Personalization is the personalization email from the tools, the set variable, right? And if you want to fill in all these other ones, you can. I mean, I don't see the point of collecting a phone number if you want to send out a cold email, right? But if you've got like CRM that you want to attach to this, by all means, collect the phone number, collect the website, because then you could do cold calling as well if you wanted to do that, okay? So that's the first part. Now, what we need to add now is just you see the filters here? So there's a couple of filters, right? You can see. So the first one is too big. So let me remind you what that is. So the too big is the number of contacts, which is just number of employees. It has to be less than 150. Okay, so let's put that in. So we're gonna go back to, let's just space this out. Is it too big? And we want total employees. I mean, you could use that. You can use total employees or you can use contacts. It doesn't really matter. They're more or less the same thing, right? So is put less than, and I just typically use 150, right? Anywhere between 50 to 100, 150 is classed as a small to medium business, which is exactly who I'm targeting, right? Then the next one you use is the email condition. So if we go back to the original template, I'll show you what that is. Is it deliverable, right? So the condition is it equal to risky, unknown, undeliverable, right? So that's the output. So remember, we have specific outputs here. So let's have a look, right? So the result is risky, right? And the third one should have failed because we only had one that went through. So let's have a look. And this one is deliverable as well. Left orbital, but it just needs improving, right? So we can deliver to it, but it's probably not going to be amazing, okay? So let's do this here. So we're going to get the result, which is the output from mails.so, and we're going to put in these operators, text operators, okay? So head back over here, just call the label whatever we're going to call it. This is for your own information. And then we want where is it? The result, right? Result equal to deliverable. Okay, it's this one here, result. Okay, so we want basically, remember what we did in the original? We want undeliverable, unknown, risky. Okay, if it meets those conditions, then carry on. Okay, and then we're going to save that, right? And then does it find an email? So if we go back to the original, you're going to see that is there an email address? Did we get anything from the hunter.io module, right? And it has to exist. Okay, otherwise it will just skip it and move on to the next record. Okay, so we'll go into the filter here, call it email, or call it exist, or call it whatever you want. And then we're gonna line this one up. And then for this, right, we wanna use the same, the website value, the email, it doesn't exist, right? So remember in the original, right, we had no email, right? So there you go, these all have emails, that's why I didn't go to this part of the flow. But if it doesn't have a contact email, right, then the router will direct it to this part of the flow, okay? So what you wanna do is, let's call it email exists. And then the condition's gonna be the email from here. Contact email does not exist. Okay, save that. And then open this up. And then we've got the website value and then the founder's name. So we've got two markers here that we can do a search for. And then here, we're just gonna clone this. Okay, so let's line this up. And yeah, we just wanna remap this based on the new module, right, into this part of the flow. Okay, so the lead email is gonna be the email here. First name is first name. Last name is last name. Company name is company. And the personalization is just a personalization variable that I've created. Okay, and then just save that, right? And that's it. That's all you need to do. So whenever you run this, you're gonna get a lead added to instantly. This is the first lead that we ran in this automation here because this is the condition that was met, right? We only had one. But again, you can run this thousands of times, right? Thousands of times all day, every day. And that's about it. That's really it. That's how you can get started with Crunchbase, with finding leads, and it's almost free. The only thing that you have to pay for is sweat equity, which is rolling up your sleeves and just building this system, okay? And you can see, yeah, one last thing before I wrap up the video, is you can see there's some big companies here, right? Like I'm not saying, you're gonna email Binance and Boston Dynamics. or anything like that. But, there's a lot of companies here that have, they're growing. They've been, these are growing, so they're more likely to hire for roles like this. But you can also sort by funding, right? So are they actively looking for funding? So let's have a look at that. So they're growing, funding predictions, probable, possible. There's some other funding things you can add in here. So look, the last funding day. So what better way to contact a company than to know that, they've been funded. They've recently got some, Series A, Series B funding, venture capital money, because they're more likely to have funding to finance, whatever you're going to charge them. Okay. So it even tells you about Series A, Series B. It's a really cool database, actually. And not a lot of people talk about this. So do me a favor, like this video, comment below, share the video, and most importantly, please subscribe to the channel. I hope you enjoy this. Go out there, build a system. It's completely free. Scrape Crunchbase and start contacting these companies, okay? And I'll see you on the next video. Thank you.